Hi guys, I hope you are all well. Welcome back to my channel. Today in my video I'm going to be discussing the 5 questions to not ask women. Now this is going to be relevant for you whether you are single, in a relationship, no matter what age as well. I think this is really relevant. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe, especially if you enjoy this video and you would like more content like this. But for the basis of this video, I am going to first give you the questions that I think women should not be asked, and then on the second half of the video I'm going to be given alternative ways to ask the question. So if this is something that may be of interest to you, keep watching. So for the purpose of this exercise, folks, I am going to use my phone just because I did jot down the question when I forget what I have written down. So number 1, and again this is relevant to single women, to women in relationships, as well, relationships, marriages, boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés, wives, whatever. But the question, when are you having children? Now, I think that's such a personal question to ask people, and sometimes people just ask that question and they don't really think about it. They don't really think, okay, well, this person may really want to have children, but they may be having trouble trying to conceive. There's a lot of reasons why somebody may not even have a child. They may not even be able to have children, or it may not be the right time. So I just think sometimes people need to be careful with asking those questions. I have to admit, I have been guilty of doing it, but it's like when you see a woman, especially if they're in a relationship or they're married or whatnot, and it's like you automatically just think, oh, okay, so when are you having kids? When's the baby coming? Come on, wink, 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 like, get on with it. And actually, it probably makes people feel really uncomfortable. And just to elaborate a little bit on that as well, even when you do have a child, when somebody says, oh, are you gonna have any more? Like, even that I find a little bit like, oh God, here we go. It's like people think that's okay to say to you even when you have a child, but it's still not, to be honest. It may have taken you a really long time the first time to conceive, and again, you may be having a little bit of difficulty the second time round, or it might be a sore subject for you and your partner because maybe you may want to have a child but your partner doesn't, and vice versa. So I just think we need to be mindful when we are asking people these types of questions. The second one, when are you getting married? Oh, I used to hate that question with a passion. Just stop being nosy. Like, I will get married when I want to get married. There's so much pressure on women to get married. I don't know if men get the same pressure. Maybe they do, I don't know, I might have to ask some men. Like, again, it's such a personal question. You're in a relationship, you've been in a relationship for a while, then you may want to get married, your partner may not want to get married. I guess those conversations should have been had in the beginning, but you just don't really know like what's going on behind closed doors. And sometimes I just think it's really inappropriate when you say to a couple or to a woman, oh, when are you getting married? They may even be in a relationship that they're trying to get out of. Again, I just think people need to just think sometimes a little bit more before asking that question. I have to admit, I don't think I've ever said to anybody before, oh, when are you getting married? I just think it's kind of annoying after a while. It is just really annoying, and especially if you're single or you're like just early on like dating somebody, and then you're getting grief like, oh, when are you getting married? Like, hey, like, I'm just trying to enjoy my life. And do you know what? Marriage is not for everybody. Some people actually do not want to get married. So I just think, you know, people need to be a little bit mindful before we ask certain questions. That is all, folks. The third one, well, why did you get back with him? Again, I feel like that's a question you should never ask a woman, whether it's your friend, your sister, your cousin, your niece, whatever. If your friend, I'm gonna just say friend in this situation, if your friend has decided to get back with somebody, don't ask them why, just be supportive and just go along with it. You don't really know, again, what's going on behind closed doors. You're not in that relationship. Sometimes it can come across a little bit judgmental. You've got to be so careful. There are different ways that you can ask people, but I will cover that kind of at the end of this video. Yeah, just be careful with how you're saying things, because they can be taken the wrong way or taken out of context. The fourth one, you've lost a lot of weight. There's a lot of skinny shaming that happens. I've done a blog post on skinny shaming and fat shaming, but skinny shaming is actually a thing, believe it or not. You saying to somebody, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, is actually just as insulting as saying to somebody sometimes, oh, you've put on a lot of weight. This comes down to you don't know what somebody's going through, and I just think you shouldn't really comment on weight unless somebody's engaging you in that conversation to discuss their weight. But weight is such a personal thing. You don't know, like, there could be a reason why that person has lost a lot of weight. They could be ill, they could be stressed. There's so many reasons. It may not just be because they've chosen to lose weight. I know a lot of people sometimes actually feel uncomfortable when they do lose a lot of weight. Me, myself, after having my child, I lost a lot of weight, and it was due to just changes, probably always running around, not having enough time to probably just actually sit down and just eat and relax. You just don't know what's going on behind closed doors, so you shouldn't just assume it's okay to say to somebody, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, because you think it's okay because you don't find it offensive, but the other person may find it offensive. I feel like people get skinny shamed a lot because I've heard this term before, being slim or skinny is socially acceptable. Everybody will have different views on this. It still doesn't matter. I just feel like weight is such a personal thing, and people just shouldn't be willy-nilly like talking about it and just throwing out comments. It's not cool. The fifth one is you've put on weight, and again, that's still inappropriate. Like, don't tell someone they've put on weight. You don't need to do that unless they've asked you. I mean, you can jokingly say it, but again, I just like to be like cautious of people's feelings. I don't know how that person feels about putting on weight, so I would never just go in with, oh, you've put on weight. Like, no, I wouldn't do that unless we had a conversation, it was a close friend and they were actively trying to put on weight, and then I've noticed it and I'd be like, oh, hey, like, you've actually put on weight, like, well done. But again, I just kind of steer clear of talking about people's weight because I know it is really, really a sensitive topic. Yeah, just to conclude that section up, those are the 5 questions that I think women should not be asked. Again, whether you are a single woman, whether you are in a relationship, whether you're fat, whether you're skinny, whatever you want to deem yourself, label yourself as, I feel like those questions are very personal questions and they shouldn't really be asked by strangers. But if you must insist on asking personal questions, or, you know, maybe you want to find out why your friend decided to take that guy back or whatever, there are different ways you can ask these questions. So with the children topic, you can say, have you ever thought about having children? Now that gives the person room to kind of breathe and maneuver how they want to answer that question. So if somebody said to me, oh, have you thought about having children? If I didn't want children, I could say, yeah, but it's not really for me. Or I could say, oh, yes, I have, and hopefully in the future. That way of asking the question doesn't make anybody feel uncomfortable, and I think it just shows that you've thought about how the person may feel. So again, I think that's perfect. The second one, what's your thought on marriage? Gives you room to say, oh, I'm not really for marriage, or yeah, I think marriage is lovely, hopefully one day. Gives you a chance to even answer the question if you're being asked, and it's not so intimidating. It doesn't feel like there's a pressure, because sometimes I feel like that question, there's a bit of a pressure on it. That question could be asked to a single person, could be asked to somebody in a relationship as well, so it's quite universal. The third one, how is your relationship going? And this is key. Don't say, oh, why did you take him back? Or, oh God, you're back with him, are you? Like, no, don't do that. Just say, how is your relationship going? It's straight to the point, it shows you care, and it gives that person the opportunity to say, it's going well, thanks, shut down. If they want to go into it, they can go into it, you know? It's just a much more polite way. If you genuinely care about your friend, it shouldn't matter why they took that person back. You should care about how that relationship is going and if it's going in the right direction, since they have chosen to both reconnect and get back together. And for my 4th and 5th questions regarding weight, I've got nothing back for that, only just because I honestly feel that those questions or those statements should not be said. Unless you have been brought to engage in that conversation, then fair enough. Yeah, I just honestly wouldn't really bring it up. To think about myself with my close friends, yeah, we talk about weight, but again, none of my friends say to me like, oh Shanice, you've lost a bit of weight, or oh Shanice, you've put on weight, unless I say like, oh my god guys, you know, I've been overdoing it recently, and yeah, and then my friend might say, oh yeah, I did notice that you put a little weight, and I don't get offended because I'm bringing that up. Personal opinion, but I just don't think discussing people's weights, I just don't think you should bring up somebody else's weight. I just don't think that is correct. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts as well on these questions, how you feel when you maybe get asked some of these questions, and what other questions that you find a little bit tedious. You can follow me on my Instagram page, which is @womenoverload, or you can go directly to my website, which is www.womenoverload.com. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Take care.